The room hums with the faint electric buzz of the overhead light, a sound too small to explain the tension it holds. Words hang between them like dust motes, glittering, fragile, dangerous. "You said it was just a misunderstanding." One voice trembles, trying to sound reasonable, but the other's silence is a verdict. There's a faint scratch of a pen against paper, deliberate and slow, as if writing itself could twist the truth into shape. Somewhere, a clock ticks, heavy and cruel. A hand trembles on the edge of the table. The truth here isn't about what was taken. It's about who needed to be believed. And in that difference, trust dies with an almost sacred quiet. The faint scent of coffee and metal lingers, like something spoiled. The light flickers, the lie breathes, and somewhere behind the glass, someone watches, waiting for the moment one of them breaks. Morning fractures through the blinds, slicing the kitchen into bars of gold and gray. The quiet here feels borrowed, thin, as if the house knows what's been said behind closed doors. A kettle whistles too long before being silenced. She watches him move, deliberate, distant. His silence the same shape as accusation. There's a photo on the counter, their family smiling, a version of them untouched by suspicion. She can't look at it now. He says something about needing space, his voice brittle, the kind that hides behind logic. The air smells faintly of lemon soap and regret. The house feels smaller today. Every object is a witness. The detective's office smells of paper, dust, and slow truths. Files spread across the desk like open wounds. He reads her statement again, word for word, until the rhythm starts to sound rehearsed. There's something about the way she phrased it, a perfect echo of the accusation she'd once made in private. He marks the margin with a blunt pencil. His instincts whisper what procedure forbids. Someone wanted this story believed too badly. She visits her sister that evening. The small apartment hums with the sound of a broken fan and whispered judgment. The sister doesn't ask if it's true. She doesn't have to. The pause before every word says enough. Over the quiet dinner, a fork clinks against porcelain, the sound sharp enough to draw blood. Elena tries to explain, but explanations are thin currency in a world built on memory. Night again. Noah stands outside, the wind heavy with the smell of coming rain. He looks up at their window, where light leaks through the blinds like something trying to escape. Inside, Elena sits at the table, the signed confession beside her, untouched since that night. Two people separated by a pane of glass and a truth neither can name. He turns away, his reflection swallowed by the storm-dark street. The days blur into muted repetitions of habit. The neighbors have started to whisper, their sympathy rehearsed, their curiosity sharp. She moves through the house as though performing penance, folding laundry, answering calls with polite steadiness, pretending not to hear the echo in every empty room. He doesn't come home before dark anymore, and when he does, he smells of cold air and restraint. She replays the interrogation in her mind, the tremor in her hand, the steady scrape of the pen. Sometimes she almost believes it wasn't her who signed it. Sometimes she wishes it had been. Outside, thunder shudders across the sky, as if the world itself is warning her that silence has a cost. Detective Sloan has learned that the smallest inconsistencies often carry the loudest truths. He reads the signed confession again, eyes tracing each letter like a confession written in code. The strokes are steady but practiced, the rhythm too deliberate. He pulls another form from the file, a lease agreement she filled out last month, and holds the two signatures side by side. The difference is subtle, almost loving in its mimicry. The thought chills him. To forge one's own handwriting requires something deeper than deceit. It requires the will to fracture one's self. He exhales through his teeth and realizes this isn't about guilt. It's about control. He finds her at the open-air market the next morning, her hand hovering over the fruit display as if unsure which life to choose. Their words begin light, casual, both pretending they're only exchanging small talk. "You must be relieved," he says. The line lands like bait. She tilts her head, smiles with the precision of someone who's practiced deceit. "Relieved," she repeats, tasting the syllables. For a moment, the sunlight hits her eyes, and he sees the same calm defiance that inked the confession. A single beat of quiet passes, then another. Around them, life continues. Vendors shouting, laughter in the air. Yet they stand in a still pocket of suspicion that neither will break first. Noah hasn't been home in 3 days. The motel room smells of old carpet and cigarettes, a refuge for someone who no longer believes in innocence. He sits on the edge of the bed, watching the muted television light flicker across the receipt, her handwriting unmistakable, looping and deliberate. His thumb traces each curve like a lover's memory. He can't decide if she wrote it to punish him or to protect something he doesn't yet understand. Outside, a truck passes, shaking the window. He feels the vibration in his chest, the dull ache of knowing that even truth, once bent, never straightens again. The precinct hums in the quiet rhythm of midnight. Sloan unlocks the evidence cabinet, removes the file, and lays the confession beside the earlier statement. The differences sing now, slanted letters, uneven loops, subtle defiance hidden in ink. He runs a finger down the page, as though touching the moment everything went wrong. The phone is within reach, the call inevitable. But before he dials, he feels a shadow beyond the frosted glass. She's here. The handle turns. Slow, deliberate. Rain drips from her umbrella, puddling on the floor. For the first time, she isn't avoiding the truth. She's walking straight into it. The air in the precinct is dense, carrying the metallic tang of rain-soaked city streets. She stands before him, the silence more dangerous than any accusation. He doesn't ask why she's there. She doesn't offer to explain. A single drop of water trails from her hairline to her collar, cutting a clean line through the tension. "You've read it," she says softly, eyes lowered. He nods once. The confession lies between them, neither wholly hers, nor entirely false. "Then you know," she whispers. "I know someone wanted you to believe it," he replies. For the first time, she looks up. There's no fear now, only exhaustion. The kind that comes from living inside a lie too long to remember where it began. The next morning, the city feels washed clean but not forgiven. Noah wakes to sunlight slicing through the motel blinds. His eyes gritty from sleeplessness. His phone buzzes. Unknown number. He hesitates, then answers. Sloane's voice is measured, professional. But it cuts through him like a verdict. "You should come in." He doesn't ask why. He knows. The world outside feels unfamiliar, smaller. He gathers his jacket, the receipt still tucked in the pocket, and steps into the morning. Not as a man clearing his name, but as one walking toward the wreckage of everything that once mattered. He enters the station to find her already there. The air feels electric, charged with unfinished sentences. Sloane sits between them like a referee in a game that's already gone too far. "One of you lied," he says calmly. The room contracts. Elena's jaw tightens. Noah's fingers twitch on the table's edge. The detective lays both documents before them, the handwriting exposed like a wound. "Tell me," he says, "which one of you wrote the truth?" Neither speaks. Rain begins again outside, faint at first, then insistent. It drums against the window like a confession demanding to be heard. Later, alone in the observation room, Sloane rewinds the footage. He watches her posture, the tremor in her hand, the way Noah flinches each time she looks at him. He pauses the tape at the moment she leans forward, lips parting as if to say something she never does. Frame by frame, he sees it. Her pen moves before the paper touches ink, as though she's copying something already written. He exhales slowly, realization dawning. The confession was never about theft. It was about punishment, a private act of vengeance written as proof. Night again. Elena walks home alone through the soaked streets, the city shimmering in puddles of reflected neon. Her phone rings. Noah. She answers, but says nothing. His voice breaks through the static. "You didn't have to do that," he says quietly. "Didn't I?" She replies, stopping under a flickering streetlight. "You took everything from me. I just made sure someone noticed." The silence stretches. "You're wrong," he says. "I never took anything except the blame you gave me." The line goes dead. Rain begins again, harder now, washing her face clean, or trying to. Morning comes harsh and colorless. The city seems emptied out, drained of sympathy. Elena moves through her kitchen with mechanical care, wiping down counters already clean, listening to the drip of the faucet like it's keeping time for her guilt. On the table lies a letter she can't bring herself to open. His handwriting on the envelope, heavy, deliberate. She knows what it says. She doesn't need to read it. Outside, a car door slams, echoing too close. For a moment she thinks he's come back. But when she looks out the window, it's only a delivery man. Relief should follow. But instead, the absence hits harder. She sinks into the chair and lets the letter stay unopened. The silence around it, deafening. Sloan drives through the rain, wipers keeping rhythm with his thoughts. He replays every word she said in that last interview. "You know," she told him. Not, "I did." Guilt without admission. Confession without truth. He's seen liars before. They flinch. They stall. She didn't. She was certain of something else entirely. The realization gnaws at him. Maybe she didn't frame Noah out of spite. Maybe she was protecting someone worse. His eyes catch his own reflection in the windshield. A tired man chasing ghosts of intention. The storm outside thickens, as if mirroring the doubt that's begun to settle inside him. Noah returns home. The house smells like her perfume and absence, both too strong. He moves room to room, touching things she's left behind as if they might explain her. A photo on the mantel. Them on a beach, years ago, wind in her hair. Laughter caught mid-breath. He turns it face down. The sound of it hitting the wood is small but final. He finds the jewelry box in the bedroom drawer. The one she said was stolen. Inside, every piece gleams untouched. The truth lands heavy. She never lost them. She hid them. His jaw tightens, hands shaking. What's worse, he realizes, isn't that she lied, but that he still loves her enough to forgive it. That evening, Elena finds Sloan waiting outside her apartment. He doesn't knock. "You weren't protecting yourself," he says quietly. "You were protecting him." She freezes, every muscle tightening against words she doesn't want to admit. "You think I'd ruin my life for that?" she asks. "No," he replies. "I think you already did." The world narrows to their breath. The echo of rain in the alley, the faint buzz of a streetlight above. Between them, something shifts. Not accusation, but recognition. Two people who have spent their lives chasing truth finally see it for what it is. Not justice, but survival. Later, she sits on her bed with the letter open at last. His handwriting curls across the page like something almost tender. "I forgive you," it says, but that doesn't make it right. She presses the paper to her chest and lets herself break quietly, the sound too fragile for the world to hear. Down the hall, her phone vibrates. A message from an unknown number. Just 3 words. He knows everything. Her body stills. She folds the letter carefully, as though it could protect her from what's coming next. Outside, thunder growls again, closer this time. The apartment door rattles under his knock. She doesn't move at first. Rain whispers against the glass, a sound she's come to both dread and expect. When she finally opens the door, Noah stands there, drenched, eyes hollow, letter in hand. "You read it," she says. "I wrote it," he replies. For a moment, neither breathes. "You think forgiveness fixes what you did?" she asks. His voice cracks. "You think lies keep you safe." The silence between them stretches, elastic and dangerous. Outside, a siren wails far away, a sound like memory fading too soon. The storm breaks behind them, but inside, the air is heavier. At the precinct, Sloane watches the rain slide down the windows in endless rivers. The message she received hours ago still lingers in his mind. He has already traced it. It came from a burner phone registered 2 towns over. Someone else is pulling the strings. He lights a cigarette, though the station forbids it, and exhales into the dim air. Justice, he thinks, was never about truth. It's about endurance. His phone buzzes, a voicemail from Elena. Her voice is low, trembling. "You were right," she says. "It wasn't about theft. It was about what I couldn't lose." Then static, then silence. He grabs his coat. Elena and Noah sit opposite each other in the darkened living room. No light, except the faint blue flicker from a passing car outside. "You hid the jewelry," he says softly. "Why?" She looks down, the corner of her mouth twitching like she might laugh or break. "Because you were going to leave," she says, "and I needed something to make you stay." He leans forward, eyes narrowing. "You could have asked." Her reply is barely a whisper. "You never would have said yes." The words hang between them, raw, almost tender. The lie that ruined them wasn't the theft. It was love. Twisted until it became something unrecognizable. Sloane bursts through the apartment door, breathless, soaked from the storm. They both turn toward him, startled. "It wasn't about the jewelry," he says, voice hoarse. "The theft. Someone staged it. You both were being played." Elena's lips part, disbelief washing through her. "By who?" The detective drops a photograph on the table. Grainy surveillance stills. Time stamped the night of the report. Another woman stands in the frame. Lydia, the sister. Elena stares, frozen. The sound of rain outside grows deafening, like applause from something cruel. Her voice breaks. "No, she wouldn't." Sloane doesn't respond. Noah closes his eyes. The truth is never merciful. Elena drives through the downpour toward her sister's apartment. Wipers thrash. Lightning splits the sky. Each turn feels heavier than the last, the city bleeding color into the storm. She parks crookedly, leaves the car running. Lydia's window glows faintly on the second floor. She climbs the stairs, soaked, trembling, not from fear but from what she already knows. At the door, she pauses, her hand hovering over the wood. The thunder rolls, and for a moment she imagines a different world, one where love didn't require sacrifice. Then she knocks. Once, twice. The sound is swallowed by rain. The door opens before she can knock again. Lydia stands there, hair damp, eyes hollow. "You shouldn't be here," she says, voice stripped of pretense. Elena steps inside anyway. The apartment smells of rain and cheap wine, the floor littered with unopened mail. "You told them," Elena whispers. Lydia doesn't deny it. "I was trying to protect you." The words hit like betrayal disguised as mercy. Elena laughs once, a small, broken sound. "Protect me?" she says. "You ruined me." Lydia's jaw trembles. "You ruined yourself." The room stills, filled with the silence of two women realizing they are each other's wound. Sloane waits in his car outside, watching the windows above. His cigarette burns down to the filter before he even realizes it. He's not sure what he's waiting for. Confession? Collapse? or something worse. He opens his notebook, flips to the last page, and writes one line. Truth isn't evidence. He stares at it, rain drumming on the windshield like a metronome for indecision. He's seen guilt take many forms. Some wear it openly. Others cradle it like a child. Tonight, he's not sure who to save from whom. The radio crackles, dispatch murmuring, static-laced voices. He turns the volume down and keeps watching. Inside, Lydia moves to the window, her back to Elena. I didn't mean for it to go that far, she says. The detective. He was getting close. I panicked. Elena steps forward. You panicked, so you let them destroy him? Destroy me. Lydia's voice rises, cracking. You were already destroying yourself. You lied about everything. I just made sure someone listened. Elena's breath catches. Fury and grief tangled together. You did it to make them believe you were the good one. Lydia turns, eyes gleaming with tears. Someone had to be. Outside, lightning flashes, freezing them mid-breath. Two sisters locked in mirrored guilt. Downstairs, Noah arrives, soaked, breath, ragged. He pushes past Sloane without a word and climbs the stairs 2 at a time. By the time he reaches the door, the argument inside has become a roar. He bursts in just as Lydia shouts, You think you were the only one hurt. The room stills. 3 of them now, each carrying their own brand of ruin. Noah's voice is low, trembling. You both used me. Elena turns toward him, her expression collapsing. I loved you, she says. That's worse, he answers. For a long moment, no one speaks. Outside, thunder answers for them. Sloane enters slowly, the storm wind following him in. Enough, he says quietly. His voice slices through the chaos. All 3 freeze. He sets a small recorder on the table, its red light blinking. You all had reasons. Now I need truth. For a moment, no one moves. Then Lydia sinks into a chair, whispering, I forged the receipt. The words fall like glass shattering. Elena stares at her, face drained of color. You framed me, she says softly. Lydia's voice trembles. You were already lost. I just finished it. Sloane exhales, eyes closing briefly. When he opens them, the recorder's light still blinks, marking every second of their ruin. Morning seeps through gray clouds, soft and indifferent. The storm has passed, but the city looks changed, washed, emptied, somehow older. Elena sits at the police station, her eyes fixed on nothing. The recorder rests on the table, silent now, its red light extinguished. Sloane stands by the window, phone pressed to his ear, speaking low. Yes, he says finally. It's over, but even as he says it, they both know it isn't. There are endings that don't feel like closure, only like breath after drowning. Elena signs her statement without reading it. Outside, a siren starts somewhere in the distance, fading into the hum of an ordinary day. Lydia watches from the corridor as officers move past her, indifferent. Her hands shake slightly, the skin around her knuckles red. She could run. She doesn't. The truth, once spoken, has nowhere else to go. Sloane steps out, meets her eyes. Why? He asks softly. Lydia's lips part, then close again. Because she always gets forgiven, she murmurs, and I never do. It isn't an excuse, it's a confession made too late. As she's led away, she looks back once. Through the glass, Elena doesn't look at her. That's how it ends between them, not with shouting, but with quiet acknowledgement of what love can't repair. Outside, Noah waits. The rain has stopped, but the streets still glisten with its memory. He leans against his car, staring at the station doors. When Elena finally steps out, she pauses, uncertain. Neither speaks. He offers her his umbrella. She doesn't take it. Instead, she says, "You deserve the truth." He nods once. "We all did," he says. The pause stretches like a held breath. Then he walks away. The sound of his footsteps fades, steady, unbroken. For the first time, she doesn't follow. Sloane files the report in the evidence room, sliding it into a cabinet already full of other people's mistakes. The drawer closes with a dull metallic thud. He lingers there a moment, hand resting on the handle. The city hums faintly through the thin walls, life moving on without apology. He takes out his notebook, flips to the last page, the one with his handwriting. Truth isn't evidence. He crosses out the words, then writes beneath them. But it leaves marks. For a man who's built his life on proof, this feels like something close to understanding. That evening, Elena walks along the river. The water moves slowly, reflecting the bruised colors of dusk. She stops where the railing bends, her reflection broken in the current. Somewhere behind her, church bells ring, distant, almost forgiving. She closes her eyes, breathes. The world doesn't change, the ache doesn't fade. But for the first time, she feels something close to peace. Not absolution, just acceptance. The wind lifts her hair, carrying the faint scent of rain and iron. She lets the letter slip from her hand. The paper drifting downstream until it vanishes. The past, finally, is carried away.